Good day, dear viewers and subscribers of our channel. By popular demand, we are launching a new segment called Q&A, where we will review products from Russian manufacturers. We will ask questions to both the creators of this technology and its users. Expect engaging interviews and expert technical commentary. For the first episode, we have chosen the legendary Kalashnikov firearm platform. Together with specialists from this enterprise, we will analyze all the features of both the classic and newest versions of Kalashnikov rifles. We will answer the most frequently asked questions. So, get comfortable, grab a cup of tea or whatever you prefer, and let's get started. Each generation of Kalashnikov rifles is developed to meet specific requirements of the Ministry of Defense, which are based on experience gained from the both current and past conflicts. Our starting point today will be the AK-74M. Answering our questions will be a representative from Kalashnikov concern. Please, welcome. Greetings. Dear viewers, let's begin with a frequently asked question. When and why was the idea conceived to create an entire series of Kalashnikov rifles in different calibers and barrel lengths? The 100 series in its current form was developed in the mid-1990s for two main reasons. First, there was a demand from various law enforcement agencies and departments in Russia, aside from the Ministry of Defense. Second, there was a growing interest from foreign customers, which confirmed the strong export potential of Kalashnikov rifles. Additionally, AK-101 and AK-102 were introduced, chambered for the 5.56 NATO round. Which conflicts and design solutions influenced the development of this series? The Afghan War and conflicts in North Caucasus played a major role. During the Afghan War, rifles had wooden components, but the AK-74M introduced polymer stocks, grips, magazines, and hand guards. Previously, only the AK-74 had a folding stock for airborne troops. But now, folding stocks have become standard across all branches of the military. This improves ease of transport, handling in vehicles, and combat effectiveness. Additionally, all AK-74M rifles feature a side-mounted rail on the receiver for mounting optics. Many customers request rails on the handguard or on the receiver cover. Are there any factory customization options or official accessories for these Kalashnikov rifle versions? Today, there are many options available. Many private companies, both Russian and foreign, produce various tuning components for Kalashnikov rifles. At this point, almost everything can be replaced, except for the receiver, barrel, and bolt. Additionally, the Kalashnikov concern offers factory customization options, such as Picatinny rails on the handguard and side-mounted rails. Now, let's try disassembling and reassembling a 100 series Kalashnikov rifle to see how simple it is and how the standardization of parts and components speeds up operator training, handling the weapon, its assembly, disassembly, and service maintenance. Give me the rifle. That's for the basic field maintenance. A minimal number of parts reduces the risk of losing components in combat. and makes weapon maintenance much easier. Now I will try disassembling and reassembling the rifle myself. The process is truly straightforward and efficient. That's basically it. Now, let's move on to a more modern series, the AK-200. The 200 series replaces the 100 series, integrating modern requirements for military firearms. The Kalashnikov concern paid special attention to requests from foreign customers and made design changes that have been well received by Russian law enforcement and military units. For example, Rosgvardia has already adopted one of the models in the 200 series. Here, we can see a completely redesigned stock, a different receiver cover, a new handguard, added Picatinny rails, and improved ergonomics. Let's listen to our specialist, who will explain why these specific design solutions were implemented in the 200 series. There were two main objectives. The first was to improve weapon handling, allowing the user to adjust it to their needs. The key improvement is the new adjustable stock, which can be extended and folded. Why is this important? First, we all have different body proportions, such as arm and neck length. For a consistent shooting position, it's crucial to adjust the stock length to the individual user. Additionally, body armor and winter clothing can affect how the weapon is shouldered. That means we need to adapt the length accordingly. The redesigned grip has now a wedge-shaped profile, which makes it comfortable for both small and large hands, unlike the grip used in the 100 series. The second major objective was to allow the user to adapt the rifle to different combat scenarios and environments. This means providing reliable mounting options for various optics, laser designators, and tactical flashlights, so the weapon remains effective even in low visibility conditions. As we know, the Picatinny rail system is an international standard for mounting accessories. This means the rifle can accommodate both domestic and foreign optics and attachments. Whether American, Chinese, or from other manufacturers, it makes no difference. And unlike the 100 series, we no longer limit the user to a specific mounting system. Previously, the dovetail mount was mandatory, and in those years, users had to purchase an adapter separately. Yes, thank you. This is another important point. Here, we can say that the accessories are now factory integrated into the rifle. This means that we eliminate the need for users to buy aftermarket attachments from third-party manufacturers, which might not fit properly or be of poor quality. These rifles, in this ready-to-use configuration, undergo all necessary testing and certification to ensure that everything functions as expected. In many cases, a soldier simply does not have the ability to buy additional gear. If we are talking about special forces, yes, they can customize and equip the 100 series to meet their specific needs and operational requirements. But in this case, the new rifles come fully equipped straight out of the box. And, as we mentioned earlier, you can mount laser designators or tactical flashlights right away without modifications. This makes the weapon highly versatile, suitable for both armed forces and special units performing specialized missions, such as counter-terrorism operation and other critical tasks. Absolutely. When we say out of the box, it means that when you receive this rifle, if you already have a red dot sight, you don't need to look for a special mount or adapter. You simply install it right away and can trust its stability and reliability. Based on our experience with foreign customers and feedback from specialists, we often meet experts at defense exhibitions who ask tricky questions. Sometimes they even suggest ways to improve the Kalashnikov rifle. One of the most frequently asked questions is, does the receiver hold zero? How well does it maintain accuracy after repeated use and servicing? Some critics also complain about the perceived fragility of the handguard. What can we tell our viewers about this issue? Well, we can go a long way about it, but there is no room for wiggle here. The rifle goes through very strict factory testing, and then it goes through customer's check. If this weapon did not meet any single one of the requirements, it would simply not appear in supply. There's not much to add here. There is no chance that anything was left unchecked or overlooked in the design. The receiver cover is built with a rigid structure. It is securely mounted on hinges with two locking lugs, ensuring a tight fit. This means no movement, no vibrations, and the soldier will not lose the cover in the field, nor will the red dot sight or any other optics mounted on it. Another question that often arises in the media is about the flash suppressor getting stuck or the appearance of rust. What can we say to our viewers about this? Well, you could try not changing the oil in your car for a few years and see what happens. But seriously, any mechanical system requires regular maintenance. If the rifle is clean, lubricated, and properly maintained, there will be no issues. But no matter how poorly you maintain your rifle, it will not lose its combat capability. I believe that even if the protective coating completely wears off and everything gets stuck, it will still fire. And by the way, there are several videos online showing Kalashnikov concerns durability tests, where they tried to destroy their own rifles, but they couldn't break them on the first attempt. Yes, that actually happened. Now, let's try engaging chest-sized targets at the Kalashnikov test range. First, a trained specialist will fire, and then I, as an office worker, will try it myself to see how quickly someone can learn to shoot accurately with a Kalashnikov rifle. The most modern Kalashnikov rifles were developed as part of the Ratnik R&D program. Currently, the AK-15 chambered in 7.62mm and the AK-12 are in service with the Russian armed forces. And in 2020, for the first time, Rosoboronexport, in cooperation with Kalashnikov concern, introduced the AK-308 to the global market. According to international classification, this is a battle rifle, chambered for the 6.62 by 51mm NATO round, which is standard in Russia and known internationally as .308 caliber. It provides effective engagement of targets at distances up to 800 meters. It features new ergonomic solutions and is designed for units accustomed to using NATO standard ammunition. The entire modern Kalashnikov rifle series is constantly being refined based on combat experience gained in various climatic and geographical conditions. Now we have to examine these changes in detail, discuss them with the Kalashnikov concerned expert and find out the reasoning behind each modification. Let's start with the latest version, featuring all the upgrades. Here we have the AK-12 2023 model, also known as the third generation. The first version was introduced in 2018. You are holding the second version, and this is the latest and most up-to-date model. What stands out? First, it features factory-integrated rails, allowing the user to mount all necessary equipment. However, unlike the 200 series, which was an upgraded 100 series, this increased the overall weight of the rifle slightly. With the AK-12, we return to the original weight of the AK-74M, despite all the modifications. This was achieved through significant structural changes. One key innovation is the new diopter sight, which makes aiming much easier and simplifies training. On the 2023 model, we now have two aperture settings. The large aperture is the primary setting, used for targets up to 150 meters and for low light conditions, such as twilight. If a more precise long-range shot is required, we switch to the smaller aperture, which allows for the accurate aiming. The previous version did not have this feature. Some people question the introduction of the diopter sight, saying that it is uncomfortable. But no technical decision is ever made without feedback from our armed forces and extensive combat experience. We closely monitor all customer requirements as well. If we look at the history of combat optics, correct me if I'm wrong, but for nearly half a century, almost all modern assault rifles have been equipped with diopter sights. Yes, exactly. We can look at almost the entire lineup of M16 rifles, the M4 carbines, the G3 series, or go even back further to FN/FAL rifles. Nearly all battle rifles worldwide are equipped with diopter sights. This is not just a passing trend, it is objectively better and more effective. Occasionally, negative reviews about the receiver cover appear online. We already discussed this issue in a previous session, but I'd like to emphasize it again. On the new series, the receiver cover has been further improved. Structurally, it's even more advanced. Unlike previous models, the receiver cover is fully removable. It is not attached by a hinge. Instead, it is spring-loaded at the rear. When you reinstall the cover, you slide it into place and lock it with a retaining pin. And an important detail: this pin allows easy assembly and disassembly without the risk of losing it. It features a special chamfer, which prevents it from falling out during maintenance. Yes, and if we compare it to the previous version, you'll notice it had a lever. Let's show it. To remove the receiver cover, you had to flip the lever up and slide it out. But if you mounted additional equipment on top or used an optics that was longer than usual, it could be impossible to lift the lever, creating a problem. Every small nuance is taken into account, emerging from both combat experience and field testing. This means the weapon is constantly being refined. Why is the receiver cover spring-loaded at the rear? Since it is removable, there will always be some degree of movement or play. The design ensures that this movement is controlled. During firing, the spring absorbs motion, allowing the cover to move slightly forward and backward, but always returning to the same position. This prevents any shift in the point of aim. Another critical improvement is the free floating handguard. On 100 series and 200 series, the handguard was rigidly connected to the barrel, which meant any external pressure on the handguard could affect barrel alignment. Here, that connection has been removed. The gas tube is now fixed and welded in place. For maintenance, you simply open the dust cover here. What does a free floating handguard offer? When using the rifle against cover on bipods or sandbags, any pressure applied to the handguard no longer affects the barrel alignment. Previously, at ranges beyond 250-300 meters, excess pressure could cause a slight upward shift in aim, leading to missed shots. With this design, the problem is eliminated. Once the barrel exits the receiver, it is not in contact with the handguard, which enhances both accuracy and precision. Another technical improvement in the modern series is the reworked fire selector switch. Let's take a closer look. Compared to the second generation AK-12, this version now has a fully ambidextrous selector switch. Why is this important? On previous models such as 100 series, the user had to remove their hand from the grip to disengage the safety or change firing models. On this version, a thumb rest has been added, allowing for quicker disengagement of the safety. However, it is not ideal for selecting firing modes. What did we improve? Now, the safety selector is ambidextrous, allowing the user to switch fire modes faster. Instead of removing your hand from the grip, you can now toggle between safe, semi-auto, and burst mode using just your thumb. It works like this. You switch off the safety, fire a shot, re-engage the safety. That's it. There is no wasted time, no breaking of shooting stance, just a natural, fluid motion. It only takes a little practice to get used to it. Many questions from viewers and experts at exhibitions focus on the new flash suppressor. This is an important upgrade. Previous rifles, including 100 series and early AK-12/15 models, were equipped with a muzzle brake compensator. This was designed to reduce recoil and minimize muzzle rise. However, on the all-modern 200 series rifles and the latest AK-12/15 models, we have switched to a slotted flash suppressor. Its primary function is to reduce muzzle flash, which is far more critical than recoil reduction, because a visible muzzle flash can give away the shooter's position. Additionally, this flash suppressor is now fixed, so it will not become stuck or corrode unless the rifle is completely neglected. And more important, this suppressor allows for the quick attachment of a sound suppressor, just like on the AK-19. It's very simple. Unlock the mechanism, remove it, attach the suppressor, tighten it, done. This device almost completely eliminates muzzle flash and also reduces noise slightly, which can be a major tactical advantage. The latest Kalashnikov rifles are now equipped with modern polymer magazines. What are the key features of this magazine? First, it has windows for ammo count visibility. This means you can quickly check or even just glance down at the magazine to see approximately how many rounds remain. This feature was not present on previous models. Second, it has a reinforced angle design to improve durability and feeding reliability. Here, instead of a sharp angle, we have a flat surface on the magazine base. This allows the shooter to use any horizontal surface as a stabilized shooting rest by resting the magazine against it. Another detail, there is a pin on the magazine that indicates when it's fully loaded. When you load 30 rounds, the pin protrudes. This means you can check your magazines by touch, allowing you to distinguish full, empty, or partially loaded magazines, even without visual confirmation. And of course, compatibility remains a core feature of the platform. Magazines from all previous versions are fully interchangeable with the new ones, and vice versa. I also want to mention the upgraded gas tube cover and handguard. Now, the gas tube cover is fixed and is mounted securely onto the gas tube. The handguard design has been modified to eliminate any movement or play. If the user needs to install a laser designator, it will remain perfectly stable even under intensive use without affecting the point of aim. This was actually one of the questions from our viewers. The handguard design has been improved based on combat experience. One of the most common questions from foreign customers concerned the effective range of the rifle. In earlier Kalashnikov models, the officially stated effective range was 1000 meters. In all new models, this has been reduced to 800 meters. And this applies specifically to long-barreled models with a 415 mm barrel length. The reason for this is twofold. First, it was a requirement from the customer, but more importantly, it is based on practical experience gained over many years of use. In the 100 series rifles, the rear sight was marked up to 1000 meters. But we all understand that this is not a realistic engagement distance for an assault rifle. At distances beyond 500 meters, it becomes difficult to identify a target. For such ranges, entirely different weapon systems are used, such as the Kalashnikov machine gun or the Dragunov sniper rifle. I would like to remind all our viewers who follow our channel and the products of Kalashnikov concern that every weapon has a specific purpose and is designed to perform a particular role. Even in Soviet Union in 1961, there was already an understanding that certain distances required semi-automatic fire with high precision. And that's why the SVD Dragunov sniper rifle was developed during that period. Some people criticize the SVD, and we see strange comments pop up under our videos. However, the rifle still effectively fulfills its role in various climatic conditions, and today many armed forces worldwide are adopting semi-automatic designated marksman rifles designed to cover the 800 to 1200 meter range. I'd like to add that for 1963, the year the SVD was adopted, it was truly a revolutionary design. Even today, the SVD continues to evolve, with variants like SVD-M and the SVC sniper rifle currently being adopted. Another common question we receive concerns the lack of a gas regulator on a modern Kalashnikov rifles. How necessary is it? Is it a justified design choice? And if so, what is its purpose? From a design standpoint, adding a gas regulator to the system is not difficult at all. In fact, the technology is already developed, so integrating it would not be an issue. However, first, there is no requirement for it from the customer. Second, the gas system of the Kalashnikov is already designed to regulate gas flow efficiently, ensuring reliable operation in all conditions, even when the weapon is dirty or exposed to harsh environments. In general, a gas regulator is most commonly used by competitive shooters, who need fine-tuned adjustments to optimize recoil and match the gas flow to specific ammunition types. The Kalashnikov was designed as a combat weapon, built for mission success under real-world conditions. For this purpose, a gas regulator is simply not necessary. Specifically for foreign customers, the Kalashnikov concern has recently developed a shortened version of AK-19 under the 5.56 by 45 cartridge, which is 223 Remington. This weapon retains all the design features of the most modern series, but it's more compact. It is suitable for combat vehicle crews, for operators who require compactness when weapon is folded. If we remove the low noise firing device, it is very compact. It can be placed under a fighter's clothing. I propose to go to the logical conclusion and look at the submachine gun developed by Kalashnikov concern for 9x19 ammunition, the PPK-20. The PPK-20 can be considered an evolution of Vityaz SN submachine gun. It has become more compact, slightly lighter, and, as we discussed in the Ratnik series, it features a high level of parts standardization. For example, it has the same receiver cover, which is spring-loaded. The fire selector is ambidextrous. The grip is identical. The stock is more compact, folding to the right side of the receiver. Why was it designed that way? Because the charging handle is always on the right side. By folding the stock to the right, it makes storage and transportation more convenient without interfering with weapon operation. Naturally, the stock is adjustable in length as well. From a training perspective, if a soldier is already familiar with Kalashnikov platform, transitioning to the PPK-20 is seamless, as the fire control layout is identical to modern models. Yes, it features some ambidextrous safety and the same sights, and the same pistol grip. The muzzle device is quick detachable. If a suppressor is not needed, you can remove it, making the submachine gun even more compact. And when using subsonic 9x19mm Luger ammunition, the shots are almost silent, extremely quiet. You can even hear the bolt cycling. Another point I want to highlight is modularity. The handguard features an M-lock mounting system, allowing soldiers to customize their weapon by attaching various accessories. The advantage of M-lock is that if you don't need a rail or additional accessories like a flashlight or laser, the handguard remains ergonomic and slim. That's why on the AK-12, the Picatinny rails on the handguard are removable. If they are not needed, they are removed on all models. On the AK-19, however, you can see them installed on both sides. The PPK-20 was originally developed for the Russian airspace forces, but many security agencies have recognized its advantages. With the availability of high-penetration 7N21 ammunition, it is now also used by military units, allowing them to engage targets wearing body armor. Now, let's test this submachine gun at the range. We will engage some targets and also try it with subsonic ammunition so you can hear the sound suppression quality. Before we wrap up this eventful day, I would like to thank our experts and express our deep gratitude to Kalashnikov Concern for organizing this demonstration. I also want to remind everyone that Rosoboronexport, a subsidiary of Rostec, is the sole state intermediary for the export and import of military and dual-use products, technologies and services. This video will be translated and dubbed into multiple languages for our global audience. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a like, comment, and hit the notification bell. This motivates and improves us. See you next time.